Hey, welcome to the Drop Zone, episode 3, back here in New York City in our cotton candy lit studio. Someone told me this past week they thought we were shooting it in a dance club.
It's pretty cool.
I'm not sure if that's a compliment or not, but topic number 1 this week in mainstream golf coverage. We found it again. Anytime Tiger Woods does anything, he finishes second at the PGA Championship, all of a sudden the world wants to know, is Tiger Woods back? What's Tiger Woods doing? It's all that golf should care about, and that's too bad because the result are things like this.
Is that the golfers now are too good. They're too good.
When you get a Fox Sports national correspondent that says, Tiger Woods, he played against crappy competition back in his heyday.
Yeah, he said he played in a bad era of golf.
This is ridiculous.
I've got a problem with this because, yes, golfers are getting better every year. I firmly believe that. But if you're saying Tiger played in a bad era of golf, are you saying what? Jack Nicklaus played in a bad era of golf?
Everybody did.
Everyone that played before the year 2018 played in a bad era of golf. He's saying, oh, Tiger didn't play against good competition. Tiger flattened his competition. There were plenty of good players. Tiger played against Ernie Els, Retief Goosen, BJ Singh, Phil Mickelson, all kinds of guys throughout the years. This is so ridiculous because, what, if he had won less and let
Then
Ernie
all of a
Els
sudden the
win
competition is good?
more, then would that have made it better competition that he had played against?
Yeah.
I'm out on this take. This week in amateur golf, it was a big week for amateur golf, about as big as it gets. The USAM at Pebble Beach, and we got into some instant magic.
Yeah, that's great.
24 for 1 playoff. There's a 24-way tie for 64th. So to get to match play, 24 guys went to the 17th tee, a long par 3, with everything on the line.
Yeah, this is one of those things that can only happen in golf. Like, there's no other sport in which you can have 24 people or teams or whatever tie for one thing, and you just play it off for one hole, one instance. It's crazy, and it kind of ended up being anticlimactic.
Well, can you imagine waking up, going to the range, just practicing a bunch of 4-irons, and then having to go hit one as your first shot of the day with, you know, your whole hopes and dreams hanging in the balance?
It's brutal.
2 guys ended up making birdie. 1 guy early on, and then 1 guy in the very last group because they had to do 6 foursomes.
Yes.
It took about an hour and a half just to get through that first hole. And then going to 18, it got a little bit less exciting.
Yeah, one guy like half shanks it right, the other guy blows into the water left, then the guy that went right just chips it into the fairway. It was super slow.
Lays up a layup, and then
the layup.
A missed 5-footer. 1 guy ends up emerging with a bogey on 18.
Yeah, not pretty, but very fascinating. Like I said, you can't see this anywhere else. Gary Nicklaus, son of Jack Nicklaus, is a guy who used to play on the PGA Tour in the early to mid 2000s. He made nearly $700,000 on the PGA Tour, yet he was competing in the US Amateur. And as you know, if you're an amateur, you're not playing for money, you're playing for like the heart of the game, all these like really ancient ideas around amateurism. And this has you fired up because you're a pro.
He's 49, he's been in the game his whole life. There's plenty of guys like this that get their AM status back and it doesn't make sense, and that's why I would like to declare my intention to remain a pro for life.
I'll be your caddy for life, if you'll have me.
All right, and how about your boy with the hair?
Yes, I think he's the best hair in golf. His name is Jake Bieber Frankel. He's going to be a junior this next year in high school. I think he's got the best hair in golf. Tommy Fleetwood has been knocked off the top ring. His dad was the director of Devil Wears Prada and Marley and Me.
So he's got style.
He's got talent.
He knows what he's doing.
I just really hope someday that he brings those locks, the best hair in golf, maybe to Augusta National. This week in the road to Paris, we're talking Ryder Cup, and obviously Tiger Woods injected new life into the Ryder Cup because now he's, at this point, Tiger is on the team. Like, that's a done deal.
He's there,
I know you didn't hear it here first because we've been talking about it for a month. Phil's definitely on the team too. He's not going to miss. I know that Furyk has got a little bit of a dilemma, though, with Phil because he hasn't been playing well. He talked to Ryan Asselta earlier this week about it, just what he thinks about Phil's game right now.
He's putting very well. I think he's number 2 in our PGA Tour putting stats. This is the first time Phil hasn't qualified for a Ryder Cup team on points.
And then a couple other people will get it straightened out. But the fact that people at Belle Reve were losing their freaking golf minds. Like, they were running.
People were all over the place. They were climbing in trees, taking photos, sneaking under ropes. It was awesome.
It was awesome. Like, I've never felt further away at a golf tournament from Augusta National. And all the patrons sitting there in their little lawn chairs that don't even look like these. They're much nicer. It was amazing. People were ducking under ropes, as you said, sprinting across the fairway to get in position for Tiger Woods. If we see any of that at the Ryder Cup, it'll probably be the most hyped Ryder Cup ever. Do you agree on that?
I mean, this was like a movement, and I think we're going to see awesome. I mean, every time we're in Europe, it's a great atmosphere for the Ryder Cup. Going to France is going to be so good. The U.S. team looks really good right now. Koepka, obviously.
Who's going to beat
Tiger,
Koepka?
obviously.
Who can hang with Koepka right now?
Who would you take? I mean,
in the world, only Francesco Molinari is the guy that's played at that level the past couple.
Well, and that is the thing. The Euros do have a good-looking squad. Rahm obviously played well this week. Molinari has been relentless. Tommy Fleetwood's playing well. Justin Rose, you can't count out. There's all these guys that are going to be good, but I'm almost getting on the Shipnuck train here. That the U.S. might roll.
I'm just excited about the fact that the fans are going to be treated as something. Like we never want the Ryder Cup to be something that is forgotten at the end of the year. And the last couple times, fans have like injected it with their own flair. The guy betting Rory on the green at Hazeltine that he couldn't make a putt, then he does it, fist pumps for America. That kind of stuff is what these fans live for. The trickiest part is that it'll be in Paris, so you're gonna have to wake up really early to see it. But Tiger's playing, now Jim Furyk is thinking, I'm gonna need another assistant captain. I have no idea what he's gonna do with that pick.
Who would you take? Who is in the assistant captain pool right now?
I think we could see another thing like Bubba Watson did in 2016, where Matt Kuchar, you're not gonna get selected for this team. Maybe Matt Kuchar, a veteran guy of many Ryder Cups, maybe he's the Bubba assistant. He has to dive into that. That was weird back when you did it in 2016. But
we got a Freddie showing at the President's Cup in the fall, which is always good. I can't get honestly that fired up about the assistant captain debate, but I will say I am so glad that we still have the Ryder Cup because it just feels like golf is picking up momentum right now. Now we're out of major championships and the FedEx Cup playoffs. We're gonna get fired up, but it's not really the same level as a major competition as the Ryder Cup, so I'm so glad that we still have it to look forward to.
Same.
This week in IMDb searches.
Yes.
After Brooks Koepka's win on Sunday, his girlfriend, Jenna Simms, who's an actress, came out to greet him on the 18th green and was walking around with him afterwards. So we had to go check out. You know, she's an actress. I was not familiar with her work.
Got to respect the trade.
And last night we ended up checking out a few minutes of Attack of the 50-Foot Cheerleader.
This movie, it is worth you checking out. All of it is on YouTube, the entirety, all 2 hours of it. Worth checking out maybe for a couple minutes. We probably spent 5 minutes watching it. Jenna Simms is the 50-foot cheerleader.
She's the star. She has the lead role in this movie. So.
Which is something to behold because the, let's just say the production value.
The budget could have been higher because they never really show the 50-foot cheerleader in the same frame
as anyone else. It's just her by herself.
It's just a
really
close
zoomed
cut.
in.
But there are some other awesome titles. Jenna has a thing for shark movies because she was in Sharknado, Heart of Sharkness, which is so good. Sharknado 5, Global Swarming.
Yep.
And then she was also in Three-Headed Shark Attack.
Shark Thing. I have nothing more to say. All right, guest time. In the drop zone now, Tyrrell Hatton, our first player in the drop zone. How you doing?
Oh, good, thanks. Yourself?
Good. You tore it up yesterday. You and Rafa finished the PGA with a couple of 64s.
Yeah.
How'd that go?
Oh, it was obviously a good day. Nice to finish off the last major of the year well, and always good to move up the leaderboard.
Now, last year, no made cuts in all the majors.
Yeah.
This year, made the cut in every major. I mean, how do you explain that kind of switch?
Well, it's one of those things you can't kind of pick and choose when you play well. And it was just unfortunate the majors just fell on bad weeks for me last year. Obviously at the start of this year I was quite keen to make sure I did well in the majors. A couple of top 10s is good.
Of course, now you can't talk about yesterday's event without talking about Tiger. I mean, the guy was incredible, and that's why I was happy to follow you on Twitter, because I knew you were going to send a GIF out. You were the king of Twitter GIFs, man. I was waiting for it, and you reacted to this ridiculous approach he hit on 15.
Yeah.
How long of a search does it take you to find the GIF?
Not long, you just got to type in the right thing.
What did you type in?
You've put me on the spot now, I can't think what I typed in yesterday.
So where were you when you were watching this all go down? You had finished your round a little while before, you made your charge. Did you hang around?
No, I had some lunch and then headed back to the hotel, and I was just watching the golf in the hotel room. I was waiting for Tiger to do something
Yeah.
that I could actually
You're
post
picking
out
your-
about.
Yeah,
So
you're
when he
picking
hit,
your spot.
yeah, so the 9-iron into 15 seemed like the perfect moment.
Bellerive was insane for the crowds. I mean, I think that's something that everyone's going to take away from it. Is
Yeah.
Brooks said most people have ever seen it at course. Francesco said the same thing. Was it that crazy?
I think, well, if you were around the TV groups, it was.
Well, you guys both shot 64. You and Tiger both shot 64
No big deal.
yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously the crowds were unbelievable throughout the weeks, especially over the weekend. But that, I think partly that's due to obviously the Tiger effect.
And when it comes to your season,
Yeah.
now you've pretty much made yourself a Ryder Cup player. Are you thinking Ryder Cup already? Do you need to start looking at the playoff events first? When do you turn it over into the Ryder Cup?
To be honest, I don't think about the Ryder Cup
Does
until I
anybody?
get asked about it with the media. My focus now is obviously the FedEx, so I think I'm 89th in the FedEx at the moment. Ideally, I'd like to get through to at least the third one.
Yeah.
And then that will give me a couple of weeks off before Ryder Cup, which would be great. A couple of weeks back home is always nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll just take each tournament as it comes, and then Ryder Cup week, then I can kind of start focusing on that.
So there's not a whole lot of smack talk going on in these, like, I think that fans like to picture that, you know, the Euro side and the Americans are just going at each other all season, but it might be a little overstated until the week of.
Yeah, I think so. There's a few passing comments in the crowd, especially last week. But, you know, it's a bit of banter, it's all good fun.
But what are some of the biggest differences playing the Euro Tour versus being over here in the States? And is there a difference in the players themselves and how they interact with each other? Or?
One of the big differences is probably just the atmosphere at tournaments. You know, on the PGA Tour, they generally get bigger crowds, which as a player is good to play in front of. It's nice to have that atmosphere, and it makes it feel like a bigger tournament. So I'd say that's one thing that's definitely slightly different compared to the European Tour.
Now that makes me think of the Dunhill because dude, you own the Dunhill,
Yeah,
right?
this is your spot.
What is working there
Well,
for you?
yeah,
Two years in a row.
the Dunhill's been kind to me the last 2 years. It didn't like me the first 2 years I played it though, so it was a bit of a love-hate relationship at the start, I guess. But
Love right now.
yeah, no, it's been good. I've enjoyed the last couple of years, obviously, playing with Jamie Dornan.
Now, before we get to non-golf stuff, we got to ask you about the Masters this year because Dylan and I were out there at Amen Corner.
Yeah, a Saturday at Amen Corner. Yeah, we were sitting in the bleachers.
I'm just curious
on
if you
11.
remember this because we're sitting there watching guys come through.
We
and
sat there all day.
We
and
really
you missed a putt, you kind of stared down your putt, and then you dropped your putter, but then it sort of fumbled and it almost fell into the creek.
Do you
on
remember
11. Do you have any memory of this? Because I thought it was the funniest thing. And you kind of stared down your putt like it had done something wrong to you, which it probably had.
It happens on most greens, I think, that, but I think because it happens fairly often, I can't really remember it too
All right,
well.
fair enough.
It got us excited.
Yeah, well, and that is something that I know fans connect with you about, is you show your emotions from time to time. You let people know how you're feeling in a good way, and you know, I think that's something people can relate to.
Yeah, well, I've always kind of been that way. You know, you could say wearing your heart on your sleeve kind of thing. It's just how I play. I guess I don't get overly excited when the good stuff happens, but if the bad stuff, then yeah, I don't enjoy that so much.
Do you remember the bad ones more than the good ones?
Sometimes, yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask you about, shorts on tour.
Yeah.
You were posing the question. You were just kind of threw it out there. You didn't really take a stance.
Yeah,
Do you think you should be playing
kind
in
of
shorts on tour?
I mean, I like the tradition of obviously wearing trousers and
Sean's
stuff.
shaking his
I
head
like the
yes
idea.
over
But
there. He wants shorts.
I also think that you should at least have the option. I don't see why it should be an issue. If you want to wear shorts, then you wear shorts. I think it's personal preference.
I can confirm jeans in St. Louis in the summer, awful decision. Tyrrell, thanks for joining us here in the Drop Zone.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
All right, it's time for Quick Six.
Let's go.
Steph Curry shot 71-86 on the web.com tour this week. Your thoughts?
I think it just proved that Steph is not amazing at everything, which is really good because no one needs to be good at two sports, that good at least. Number 2, TJ Vogel has now Monday qualified into 8 events this year. How crazy is that?
It used to be if you did this 2 or 3 times in a season, it would be insane. This is one of the wildest stories in golf this year. Number 3, Ben Kern, your boy, was the only club pro to make the cut this week at the PGA Championship. Tell me your favorite thing about your new king.
I like that he made more money the week prior winning the Texas State Open than he did at the PGA Championship. Number 4, some lady amateur in London made 3 hole-in-ones in the same day. Do you even believe this?
Of course I believe it. She seems like a nice woman. I think you need to just regain your trust and just enjoy these crazy hole-in-one stories as they come in. Number 5, Torbjorn Olesen lost his golf clubs twice in the last 10 days while in flight. How should he handle it?
Normally I would say don't get on Twitter or social media, but I think 2 times warrants that. Get up, British Airways, and whoever else is losing your clubs. Number 6, Gary Woodland, Brooks Koepka played together at the PGA Championship and people were mistaking them for one another. What was up with that?
I don't know. They don't look anything alike. They're just 2 big, strong white dudes that play on the PGA Tour.
It sounds a lot like us.
Medium-sized.
Not exactly. Anyways, that's it for Drop Zone Episode 3. Thanks for joining us this week. Next week, Alan Shipnuck joins us here in the Drop Zone. Not to play. Jeans were a bad decision. Anyway, Tyrrell. Did I do it again?
No.
Tyrrell. Tyrrell. Just keep this in.